Welcome to the channel, everybody, and the Minnesota Twins franchise. Today is the MLB Draft episode. We are a couple months into this newest season, and lately the episodes have been really fun. The offense is really getting back to their true form. We're seeing all our home run hitters hit those long balls that we count on so much. Overall, the season hasn't gone how I had hoped, but we started out so poorly, and I think have come a long way in a short time to get us to a 500 record, which I think we should be way better, but we do have some weaknesses and they have caused some issues this season. Obviously, with the MLB draft, we're not getting any players who are going to help us in the immediate future, but we know where our issues are, specifically with the bullpen. That's going to be a priority, and of course also building up depth so that our veterans like Goldschmidt and Blackmon and Josh Harrison, we have solutions for those players after they're no longer high level. I think we've had some pretty successful drafts in this series. We focused on pitching mainly at the beginning. Now we're shifting to more just finding good position players, and I think we have a good blend of talent in our organization, although very few high caliber prospects. One player who has actually risen this year is Carmen Ojeda. He was in the draft where we had nobody above a C potential. Ojeda is now a B. I wasn't sure what it would take for a player's potential to rise or fall, but this is really exciting to see Ojeda get that boost because I think he has a ton of potential at the plate. At shortstop, our top prospect for a while now has been Nick Gordon. Our issue there is that Jorge Polanco is having a great year at short, and Josh Harrison, someone we went out to get at second base. I'm still not quite sure when Nick Gordon's going to get a chance to play at the major league level. He's our only prospect here among the MLB's top prospects, and we need to get some more players in here. We've watched the White Sox struggle for so much of this series. Now they're breaking through this year, and they still have prospects we've never seen. Last year, we ended up getting two more good pitchers, Fernando Campos, who has a 3.03 ERA at AA this season, and Vernon Ozuna with a 4 ERA. We're pretty deep at starting pitchers, so that's not an area I've been focusing on. Ty Gonzalez is playing well down at AAA. I think he could be a DH on this team, maybe even next season. Ojeda looks like he has everyday third base potential, but we do have Miguel Sano having an outstanding stretch of years at third base. Andres Valdez, we might need him sooner than later with our bullpen issues. We have a lot of good closers. Not everybody can close, but we can find a home for players like Valdez or even Esteban Machado. I'll be calling him up soon because he's dominating AA, and if he continues to pitch like this, maybe he gets a chance at the major league level. We end up getting this victory against the Tampa Bay Rays to put us a couple games above 500. Again, we're seeing a great trend with the offense, a lot more home runs and extra base hits in general. I feel things are being pointed in the right direction right now. So on to the 2020 first-year player draft. We were just out of the postseason last year, putting us at 22nd overall in the drafting. And I saw many of my favorite draft prospects go before us, including Eric James at 19, the catcher I really wanted to come away with in this draft. Now, I thought I did a better job scouting this year, so I'd know more players as the draft went on, but still, many of those players went very early, so that wasn't a big difference this year. Daniel Montero was a pitcher I had a lot of interest in. We need that bullpen help, of course. Here's an outfielder, Sammy Aviles, with the 80 potential. We had fully scouted him. Pretty good across the board. I loved his well-rounded abilities. And then the list of players actually was pretty short for even the first round, so that had me a bit concerned. Here's Herman Iovino, another good, well-rounded outfielder, but lower potential and probably a lower starting overall. Aviles was my favorite for this spot because of how well-rounded he was. He's only 18 years old, and I thought he was a perfect first pick for us. I wasn't expecting us to have a pick in the first competitive balance round. I'm not sure how that's all determined, but we had a pick very shortly after selecting Aviles. And there were still some really good players I had interest in. There was catcher Albert Baldwin, but I felt it was a little early for his skills, especially when there were some pretty good relief pitcher prospects out here, our main need right now in the organization. There were a couple that I liked, but I ended up selecting Daniel Montero. Hammond's had the edge in K per 9 and home run per 9, but I love Montero's 75 hit per 9, and he had higher velocity as well with really good break. You could have gone either way with those two, but I ended up going with Montero. That takes us on to round number 2. We had less options, obviously. There were some players half scouted, and then players with a little bit lower potential I was still taking a look at. One player that stood out though was Benito Novoa, because he was one of the few players that we had fully scouted that had really good power upside. So I wanted to make sure we got some power in this draft. On to round number 3. The round that I actually spent the most time deciding on, because there were a couple different outfielders I had interest in. Here's Rich Monahan, who's more of a utility player, and then Herman Iovino, who has the 75 potential, great speed and fielding, but he's really just a corner outfielder. And I felt with already taking a couple outfielders, I wanted that position flexibility, and both are deep projects anyway. We have no idea how our outfield's going to look by the time they are ready for the majors, so I went with the more flexible player. In the 4th round, we go Francisco Calderon. He has great hitting upside, although the accuracy was low on the scouting. Had to take some chances here. It was who was left. In the 5th round, we go with relief pitcher Brandon Gabriel. I love these ratings here, and a high overall to start out was somewhat intriguing because we do need bullpen help sooner than later. And then in the final round, we go to the infield, Andres Mesa. The accuracy here again was low, but if this was an accurate scouting report, he was going to be at least average across the board with great defense. And that brought us to the end of the draft. So let's take a look at these players' ratings. Starting with Sammy Aviles, we end up with a B potential left fielder. He has adequate speed, and he's better at power over contact. Definitely a project in the field and at the plate, but he's 18 years old and has that high potential. In competitive balance round A, we go Daniel Montero, a potential closing pitcher, high hit per 9, high velocity. It's another righty who throws a fastball, slider, and a changeup. I love this selection. In the 2nd round, Benito Novoa was the selection, C potential power hitter. Really good against lefties. The vision and hitting ratings though, the contacts are low. His defense not so good, but a strong arm. Definitely a project with some pop. Then Rich Monahan. Obviously it'll take him a long time to develop, but he can play a variety of spots. We'll have him playing at A-ball for a long time, probably until he starts getting closer to a 60 overall, and hopefully we can see him rise through the system. Francisco Calderon, only a 46 overall. Hard to say where this is all going to go. Everything is pretty low. I don't normally take players who had this low of overall to start out with, but we'll see how it goes for us. Brandon Gabriel, unfortunately, the accuracy was not all great on his scouting report, so only a D potential and some okay ratings across the board, but not sure about that upside. And Andres Mesa, another D potential player, has really good defense though, so if the hitting can come up at all, he's still gonna have a chance, I feel. That's the end of the draft though. I feel that this was a decent draft. Not bad, not great. Getting Montero though was definitely the best part of this draft. Another great relief pitcher with A potential. And then Sammy Aviles, of course, an outfielder we can develop over some time. I missed out on Eric James, who wouldn't have been the best 1st round pick. I was hoping in round 2 to get him. He has great hitting ratings, high vision, adequate defense. He would have been a perfect find for our system. And then Cleveland, they don't end up with anybody with very high overalls. They were very pitcher heavy in this draft, and we'll see if they're able to develop any of them. The White Sox, they get a 98 potential starting pitcher at 18 years old and 60 overall. Man, this team is going to be good. I know that it felt like it was our time to take control, but the White Sox are going to be right there to make things a lot more difficult. The Blue Jays get a B potential first baseman, and 39 overall has to be the lowest I've seen for a first-year player. The Rockies, 6 pitchers and a catcher, including a 99 overall starting pitcher. Clinton Vigil was their top pick, but of course playing in Denver, they'll want that home run per 9 to come up as far as they can. I thought that St. Louis had an outstanding draft. They had 4 players with 80 potential or higher, all at different positions. The Phillies also had a 99 overall starting pitcher with a 69 overall to start out with, and a good second baseman as well. So there were definitely some teams that outshined us here in the draft, but I feel that it was an okay draft. I'm still trying to figure out how to have more efficient classes and do my scouting better. It wasn't my plan to take so many outfielders, it's just kind of how everything fell. So the draft is over. We can look ahead now to the rest of the season, and we haven't spent much time this year at all talking about the minor leagues, and I think that there are many of you that would like to see our next episode focus on them for once. And then we'll get back to the majors. Down at AAA, we have standouts including Steven Gonzalez, Fernando Romero, Andres Valdez. I really want to see what Carmen Ojeda and Nick Gordon can do. And at AA, I'm mostly excited about the players that I've drafted, like Chuck Bearden, the 21 overall outfielder. There's Breivik Valera as well, hitting .313 this year. I've always been so intrigued by his ratings. He has this extremely high contact with 99 vision. There's gotta be a way I could use him potentially at the majors one day, because those hitting ratings are so good. You can't tell me off the bench that he wouldn't be valuable, and he's a utility player. Maybe he is the utility player of the future on this team. I might be counting on him going forward. But that's going to take us to the end of this episode, everybody. A short one today. Let me know if you want to see me focus on the minor leagues next episode. That's a definite possibility. Let me know what you thought of the draft down below in the comment section. What players are you most excited about? I will see you all next time with some more Twins franchise. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon.